Has anyone ever given you a hard time for when you say you want to be a dancer when you grow up, or you want to go to college for dance, and they say, that's not a real job, or that's not an actual degree? Hello there, and welcome back to Dance Colleges and Careers. I'm your host, Brittany Altmeyer, and this is the podcast where we talk about all things dance, colleges, careers, and dance competition. Today we are going to be talking about that career path or college, what it could possibly look like if you were to go to college for dance. When I grew up, I knew that I wanted to be a dancer. I had no idea what that meant, but I had older siblings ahead of me who were going to school for dance and theater, so I knew it was a path. I just didn't really know what that path would look like or what the journey of being a dancer or a theater major could possibly be. So if you've ever thought about maybe majoring in dance or having dance as a career, I'm here to talk you through it. The crazy thing about being a dance major is that everybody's success stories are different, and everybody's level of success is different too. I always knew that I wanted to be a dancer, and it's interesting how the different communities you're in kind of tell you what your success is or not, you know, where you really fit in, where you're thriving over other dancers, or where you feel like you're really making it. And the truth is, everybody has a different story, and then that journey changes a lot as well based on other factors. Do you want to have a family? Do you want to travel? What level of income are you comfortable making? How to know if majoring in dance is the right answer for you. It really will depend on who your teachers were and who you talk to, who are your mentors, who else do you know who has gone on to be a dancer, and what has their journey looked like? What can you expect when you go to school? Because it is not like any other degree at all. Okay, first off, we have to remember that not all programs are created equally. Just like jobs, not all jobs are created equally. Not all bosses are created equally. Not all students, not all classes, not all teachers. So the great thing about going to college for dance is that you have to audition to get in. Now, I know I said the great thing. It's a pro and a con. You have to audition to get in, but look, we are used to going to dance class. When you go to an audition, it tells you if you are in the right place or not, because you need to have some sort of familiarity or comfort in the studio. When I went to all my auditions, I went to a lot of auditions because I had no idea where I was going to go, and I actually thought I was going to go for musical theater. And then later on down the road, I decided to go for dance with a focus in musical theater. The best thing you can do is just keep creating your network. Be kind to people. Ask people questions. Find out what people have done and what they've loved, and maybe what they hated, what they struggled with, what times in their lives did they really struggle, and when did they feel like they were successful. So what does being a dance major really look like? Look, the craziest thing is that this has all changed immensely in the last couple of years. So the world has changed. These programs have changed, and they're continuously still changing and trying. They're trying to find their new home. Social media and online auditions have changed immensely just in the last 2 years, post-COVID. So a lot of these universities that used to be extremely strict on one program, this is exactly what you need, this is exactly what you do, now a lot of them understand that kids coming in want to be double majoring. They understand that kids coming in are realizing that we all need to have a backup plan and we need to have other skills. Now, I think there are pros and cons to that, especially as I've been doing a lot of these interviews. I would talk to some programs and they would talk about how they're trying to make changes for the kids, how they encourage you to create your own program. I know some people who that has worked for, but I wouldn't go into a program trying to create your own program. Now, I'm only talking through my own experience, but I know when I had Megan Tatum on, she was talking about how she went to this school and she realized there was something extra she wanted to get out of her experience, but realized they didn't really have it at her school, so she kind of carved her own path. And she discusses how challenging it was and how much pushback she was getting the entire time because maybe it didn't fit perfectly into the box they had there for her. So that might work for a handful of people, but it does probably mean that you'll have to be challenging someone the entire way. These programs that are all trying to like branch out and become more of what they think all these kids are wanting nowadays, because social media is so loud and kids are very vocal about needing to be good at everything. I can't say I totally agree with it. When I was 18 years old, I had no idea what I was doing. And it's not just what I was doing. Like, I knew what I was doing in the dance studio. But when it comes to that particular school and what classes would have been best for me at that school, I never would have done it correctly. You know, like they have their programs optimized for students ages 18 to 22 to come in and leave the school as ready and prepared to be working individuals. That's the goal, at least, right? That's why you go to college for dance. You don't go to college for dance to just continue dancing. You go to college for dance to have a career in dance, to have a better understanding of the world outside of your hometown, to have a better understanding of what is being put on the stage, the reasons why, and to, of course, gain your own dance skills and technical skills, musicality, maturity, all your performance quality. But in college, it's no longer just dance class. Dance class is fun. Dance class is what we've always been doing. But then you take other courses that help you become a dancer, a professional dancer. That is where you need to think about, is this what I want to do for my life? First of all, when I was in high school, I thought the only thing dancers did were, I thought they either moved to New York or LA. LA meaning that they would be on TV. Moving to New York means that you're going to be on Broadway. That seems great and simple and all, but that also feels like you can only be a dancer if you're the top 5%, doesn't it? And that's simply not true. There is so much room for anyone to be a dancer, but it is not an easy career. It is very rarely can you find a clock in, clock out job, 9 to 5, comfort for the rest of your life. But even then, we saw through the past couple of years, even then, all jobs come to an end. Here's the difference with being a dancer or performer from other jobs. Any job can end. Anything can close, any business can close, but every show will close. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. Shows close because they get outdated and then they bring in new shows. So no matter where you are in your life, you might be, by the time a show you're in is closing, you might end up being the director or the choreographer for the next project that comes out because where you're at in your life. Or you might decide to move on and shift gears altogether. But that is something that I know that people even my age keep forgetting, is that no matter what job you're in, you can't just get too comfortable. As dancers, we have to stay in tune with our bodies. We have to stay healthy. As singers, you have to be able to have vocal health. You have to be willing to work hard. And that's where it's not just about dancing. That's where having this as our career is not just like, yay, I like to do these steps, because that's not enough. You have to have purpose behind what you do and why we do it. I know because I lost mine for a little while. I lost mine when I don't want to mention specifically, but when I was working for a specific company, and then when I worked for a different company, they reminded me of why I do what I do. They kicked my butt back in shape and expected perfection out of me and reminded me why what we do is important and why striving for perfection is important, even though it's singing and dancing. That's when we stop doing our best. That's when it's time for us to move on or take a break or have a wake-up call like I had. And it changed my whole persona on everything I do. And I'm so grateful for that for that one day I had, that one moment I had that woke me up to the rest of the world. Why do you want to go to college for dance? Well, first of all, it is fun. I love college, but I love school. I choose to love things, though. I'm a watcher, okay? I'm an extrovert, and I like to chat, and I love friends. I love being around people, but I also really observe. I take a step back and I watch. I watch what works and I watch what doesn't. And so I would watch people in high school complain and say, oh, I hate this, I hate that. These people are the worst. And I just chose not to live that way. I choose to be happy. I chose to like high school. I know that, homework sucks and we get overworked, but I chose to be in activities that are fun, that would change me for the better. Being a dancer in college is not an easier major. It's not. There are some majors that just are easier. They go to class way less. They'll still come out with the degree that will still mean basically the same thing as what you'll get as a dancer. As a dancer, we have much longer classes because other classes might have a science class that is a 3-hour credit and it meets 1 hour a week. I mean, I know this math is not right, but I know I had a ballet class that was 3 hours and it met, 7 hours a week? So it's just not the same because it's time. Our time is not the same because also as a dancer, there are extra rehearsals. There are extra shows that you have to be in rehearsal for. So there's a lot of time where a regular college major student might have off to go, I don't know. I don't even know what the other college students did. I was with the dancers, but go do things or maybe even have a job or work. But you have to remember when you're in college is your job. You're gonna be working your whole life. If you can have a job, then too, great, cool, you do you. I always had a job in the summer and I just paid off my student loans after I graduated and was actually able to make money. Because when you're in college, it's hard to make very much money at that time. So some other ways to know if going to college for dance is right for you. It's all gonna depend on the school. But the easiest way to tell is to go take a class there. If you can't take a class, look them up on YouTube, follow their social media, see what they stand for. See if you have the same values. Understand if you are at a strictly competitive studio and if you're going into a modern program that you might not ever get to do pirouettes again. You might be moving into a completely different style, and would you still be happy doing that? But that could be this particular program. No school is the same. You have to reach out and find where you really find your home. A lot of this also depends on finances. So if you are in a specific state that has 1 or 2 in-state schools that you could see yourself being at, go check those out first. I know that when I was in high school, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to go farther away. I wanted to go where there was opportunity, and it was a little bit foolish. But I'm glad I went where I went, but I did not really know what I was looking for when I started the search. So I wasted a lot of time, effort, energy, tears, sweat, all of that senior year when you have so much other stuff going on, and I was wasting time, wasting the energy just trying to figure out something that might work. So if you're not a senior right now, even better, figure it out earlier on so that you can have some top choices where you know you would be happiest at. Again, remember the main thing is that going to college for dance does not mean you're just going to do more pirouettes. It means you are going to be taught how to do this as a career, how to make money as a dancer, how to live, how to pay your rent, and that's what the education is about. Just like anything, there are certain jobs that pay more and there are certain jobs that pay less, and it's just where you see yourself and what you could possibly fit into. It's a hustle, for sure, it's a hustle. If you love it, do it, dream it, be it. Let's go, dancers. Until next time, be brave, tell your story, and own the stage.